Good afternoon, everyone. We have the honor and pleasure of having our favorite Dr. Tarak Nath Saha sir. Sir is director of ICR Pune, and the topic chosen by our esteemed guest is cultivation of chrysanthemum. Uh, and You can start, sir.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, sir, very much, sir, for the introduction. So, good afternoon to all of you. So, this is means I think you are all listening about all the crops, but among all the crops, in ornamental crops, you will be finding this chrysanthemum. It is a very interesting crop, an interesting crop in the sense that you can cultivate at a wide places, varied places. Utility is also varied utilities there, and particularly due to its popularity, ease of cultivation, as well as colorfulness. This is very much preferred for, be it for loose flower, be it for cut flower, be it for pot culture, be it for garden, everywhere it is used. So, but this crops is not from our country. The origin is not from our country. But anyway, all the whatever may be the crops, be it cultivated in another area, it may be of a very good uses, though it may not be of the same country origin. So in that way, this China, you can say that even Japan, this area particularly, this was originated, but it was popularized in Japan. That is the main thing, that origin is somewhere and popularization is somewhere else. So this is very much widely in use in Japan on various utilities. And in India also, we are utilizing these things for various purposes, be it for cut flower, loose flower, and in particular during the festival season. For loose flower, it is widely preferred nowadays. In cut flower, it could not get its position properly, which was thought of earlier. But as a loose flower, it has a very good position in India right now. So most of the parts of our India, they are cultivating this chrysanthemum, and maximum you'll be finding during the festival season, and that too white and yellow color. So keeping into the background of the utility and other things, you will be finding that ease of cultivation, it is very much for this chrysanthemum. Means anybody can plant chrysanthemum at his garden, and anybody can successfully commercially produce also chrysanthemum. So that is the main utility which is making it more preferred, and it is available in different flower types, be it small flower, be it medium sized flower, be it large size flowers. So lot of variations are there. So accordingly, the large flowers you will be finding, they are particularly utilized for exhibition purpose, which you are finding. However, this is a separate group in chrysanthemum, exhibition type. Similarly, spray types you will be finding, they are utilized for loose flower, right? However, some tall type of cut sprays are there. They are utilizing for cut spray as a bouquet. It is also getting popular nowadays about this cut spray. And beside these things, cut flower also are used. Those who are having long stem. The cut flower varieties which mostly farmers are cultivating, they are the day neutral type of varieties, we can say that. And short photoperiodic requirement variety they are. And in addition to this, they are also utilized for extraction of oils also. It is having a particular type of fragrance in its leaves and flowers. So it is also used for extraction of essential oil in some of the varieties. It is used. And in addition to this, all these utilities you will be finding throughout all your purposes. So based on the size of the flowers, this is a large size of flowers. There you will be finding maximum it is in curving. Generally, snowball, it is very much popular. But the cultural practices makes the flower very large, medium, or small to some extent in these larger groups. If you want to take more number of flowers, the flower size will be small in case of large flower. Here in large flowers, you'll be finding incurving, then reflex. All these types are there above rows. And below row, they are also larger one, spider also larger one, spoon, anemone, and single and semi-double. They are in small flower group, you'll be finding. And beside that, button types, Korean types, double Korean, semi-quilled, stellate, they are particularly coming under the small flower groups. So here are some of the varieties which are very much popular, released by some of our SAUs as well as ICR Institute also. They have been developed. And you will be finding that in Ludhiana, they are having very good varieties of Baggi, Basanti, Ratlam selection. They are very nice in that way. In addition to this winter queen, this variety is typed that way. Winter queen variety means it is giving maximum number of flowers during the winter. In December, you will be finding this flower, means flowering will be there in winter queen. And in autumn joy, the flower will be very early. Means the flower will be coming, you can say that during October or November itself, the flowers may come. So this autumn joy is very early. And winter queen, it gives flowers during winter seasons. In addition to this, rest are normal season variety. So these are some of the varieties. Now, the cultivation of chrysanthemum is like that way. It is sensitive to waterlogging. The first and foremost thing one has to take care. Otherwise, most of the soil you can cultivate chrysanthemum, no problem as such. But waterlogging should not be there. In addition to this, a slight, you can say that acidic pH it is preferring. But I should not say it's so much acidic, but it is very nice in that way that it is having a very good capacity of buffering capacity of 6 to 8 also in chrysanthemum, particularly those who I'm telling about spray type of chrysanthemum. However, sandy loam soil is very good for all this cultivation of ornamental crops, be it bulbous crops or be it any other ornamental crops. And the main thing in chrysanthemum, which was commercially exploited, it is its short day plant's nature. The nature of plant is short day. Short day means it requires short night for flowering, not for growth. Just it is relation with flowering. So in chrysanthemum, if you are providing short day means long night, then flower will be initiated. Or if you are providing the long day, then vegetative growth will be there. So this is a particular sequence which is commercially utilized, and that's why in polyhouse cultivations, people are taking the crops thrice a year. Then only it will be profitable. 3 times they are taking in a year by exploiting this short day nature of the plants, right? So this is a particular features of these plants which is making them very attractive. In addition to this, some of the thermo-insensitive cultivars are also there. They can be grown throughout the year, but it is true sense I cannot say that they are completely thermo-photo-insensitiveness. Flowering will be there, flowering will be coming, but for a proper vegetative growth, you need a slight longer period. So we are saying that more than 12 to 14 hours light is required for a proper vegetative growth. And if you want flowers to come early, then less than 8 hours light is required, right? So this is a proper combination of light as well as day period also. However, it varies as per the cultivar also. Some of the cultivars, they are varying in this thermophoto insensitive requirements. But here, the night temperature is also very much important, just like the night temperature should not be too high, otherwise bud formation will not be there and bud abortion will also be there. And bud may not turn into flowers. In sometimes you will be finding that some of the buds, they remain vegetative as such. For this, there are 2 reasons. One is very high temperature or very low temperature. And second thing is, sometimes you'll be finding that phyllodes is there. Means many people are telling it is due to phytoplasma. So this type of phyllodes occurs. So better that you have to cut it and remove the flowers. So that is the main solution for this phyllodes. And planting season, though I have mentioned some of the planting seasons, but these thermophotoinsensitive varieties can be cultivated throughout the year. You don't have any particular seasons of planting. But in normal varieties, we are planting up to June, July, and up to maximum August we are planting. If we are making late, then in our Indian condition, what happens? Short day begins. So plants will not be getting proper vegetative growth. So that's why the planting maximum you can take up to August, right? However, in parts of Maharashtra, then Andhra Pradesh, Karnataka, people are planting during March and April also. So this particular planting date of planting March, April, they are coinciding with the flowering will be coinciding with the festival seasons. That's why they are planting during the March, April also for some of the varieties, right? So if you are giving a proper cultivation practices in that, farmyard manure is of very good importance for ornamental crops. People are generally not applying this farmyard manure or organic manure, but we are recommending that if you are providing this enough organic content in the soil, then crop will be very nice. Otherwise, in normal condition, crops will be growing, but the quality of the flower and longevity of the flower and duration of the flowering will be more in case of more means where more organic content is there in the soil. And in maximum cases, we are telling that you use polythene mulch, plastic mulch you use, then it will, what happens that during the planting time, weed growth will be suppressed and crop will be very nice. And always use raised bed for this cultivation. Flat bed is not recommended generally, but for most of the ornamental crop, raised beds are given. So keeping all these things into considerations, and you have to give adequate fertilizer to your crop also. It varies from state to state, what I am telling. All this farmyard manure and NPK, it will varies. But ultimately, I should say that the application, means the spraying of zinc sulfate and magnesium sulfate, one has to stay. Because this is very much important for getting a quality flower. Sometimes you'll be finding that flowers of same variety is giving very good color and very good color intensity in one state, however it is not giving in another state. It is mainly due to the cultural practices as well as this zinc and magnesium. The zinc and the magnesium content in soil as well as its application, it is having a profound effect on the flower quality. So this is recommended. And generally irrigation in chrysanthemum, it is just optimal irrigation is needed. If you give more irrigation, then wilting will be there. So you'll be finding that during rainy season, most of the cases of wilt is occurring in chrysanthemum. So these things we are not recommending that you should give adequate irrigation, but optimum irrigation is needed in case of chrysanthemum. And regarding its propagation, it is propagated vegetatively, and that too by terminal cutting, right? So this is very easy also. Raising by cutting, it is also very easy. You have to take the 5 to 8 centimeter of the cuttings, terminal cuttings you have to take. You can take suckers also. You can plant suckers also. So what happens if you are planting suckers, then flowering will be early, but you have to compromise with the yield, right? Two things are there. Means you have to compromise with yield or quality, something you have to see it. So in that way, sucker plantings are recommended where if you want to get early flowering, or if you want to go for more flowers, more yield of flowers, then one has to go for terminal cutting. So this is very much in use, and we are recommending that if you are applying the IBA or rooting hormone, so the rooting percentage will be much more. And if the humidity is there in that area, then in that cases, even lower doses of rooting hormones also suffice as requirement. So in that way, the terminal cuttings are planted in a plug trays. We are recommending to plant them in plug trays. And in plug tray, you can use different types of medium. In sand also, you can use sand also. Burnt rice husk also used, but you have to wash it. Burnt rice husk, you have to wash it. And in addition to this, you can use coco peat as well as its combination. But we are recommending coco peat, perlite, and vermiculite. The ratio will be 4:1:1. The application of this rooting medium, 4:1:1, volume by volume, right? So this is giving adequate aeration as well as the water holding capacity. And the cuttings will be ready within 3 weeks of the planting cuttings, right? And regarding the plant spacing, it varies. It varies in the sense that it's if it is of more spreading in nature, you can increase the spacing. Otherwise, in general, we are telling 30x30 centimeter spacing is very much suitable for most of the varieties. However, if you are taking it for polyhouse cultivation for cut flower, there closed spacings are required. Closed spacing means very near, and you have to provide the supporting net. Supporting net you have to give it, otherwise plant will not be stem will not be straightened. Just like in that intercultural operation, there will be finding that staking is there. Staking in that way, you have to give it for cut flower varieties, because you need actually straight stem. That is the main thing. And pinching is required where you have to get more number of branches. More number of branches means more number of flowers per plant. This budding is practiced generally for the larger flower. For getting larger flower, exhibition type of flowers, there we are making it. Similarly, desucking is also practiced in case of exhibition type of flowers. And desuckering is also utilized for getting the large flowers. Because in some of the varieties, it is not desirable, as well as desuckering are also practiced for the cut flower. However, in case of spray type, it is not, we are not doing desuckering and disbudding and desucking. Right. So these are the way by which you have to cultivate. And regarding harvesting, what happens? Some of the varieties matures 70 to 80 days after transplanting, and some varieties takes more than 90 days. But most of the varieties you will be finding between 80 to 90 days. The flowering is means 2 to 3 months. It is minimum it will require. However, if you give the blackout treatment means after attaining the optimum growth, then you can cover the entire crops with black polythene, right? Just to make the short day condition. There you can get the flowering early, right? So in that way, the commercial exploitation is taking place. And harvesting, we are generally we are telling that you take during the cool hours of the day. And for loose flower, when means just it has opened, means 25% of the flowers have opened, you can harvest, and you can for distance market during that time we are telling you can directly send it to. And generally the transportation we are telling you do it in a crates. Plastic crates are the advisable. Otherwise, what happens? Flower will be bundled in that way. So in that way, staking means in plastic crates you can stake, and there only one plastic crates generally in Maharashtra and Karnataka they are using 10 to 12 kilo of flowers are coming. So one crate means 10 or either 12 kilo of flowers. In that way, it is being transported. However, during the festive season, the farmers, they are keeping the flowers in the cold store. Suppose during this Ganesh Chaturthi or some other festival, 10 days or 5 days festival are there, you cannot produce the flower every day. You cannot harvest the flowers every day. Then you have to store the flowers for some time. So for storing the flowers, you have to start 10 days before. So what happens? You are finding that flower can be stored at 0 to 3 degrees centigrade for 3 to 6 weeks. Means even people are harvesting the flowers for even a month. 15 days is very much comfortable. There it happens. So in that way, slowly you can take out the flower from the cold store and market during the festival season. And that is way. This is similarly, you can do it for chrysanthemum. Chrysanthemum you can do. In addition to this, for marigold also, 2 to 3 weeks, it can successfully be stored at a cold store, right? But here the temperature is 0 to 3 degrees centigrade in case of chrysanthemum. In case of marigold, the temperature will be 2 to 4 degrees centigrade, right? So this is the thing that by which it is being harvested. And if in case of cut flower, where the stem length is too much high, there based on the stem length and type of flower color, then type of flower opening stage, we are grading the flowers. In that way, grading is being done. So in standard chrysanthemum, there are 4 types of grades are there: blue, red, green, and yellow. And in spray types, gold, silver, bronze. There means the grading parameters are there, right? And if we are taking the whole stem, then generally we are telling that you stripe off the leaves, basal leaves, and make a bundle of 5 to 10 flowers, and then you pack it in that way. You have seen the roses. There are generally in roses also 20 flowers are there, but in case of chrysanthemum, generally you are making the bundle of 5 or 10 stems, depending upon the length of the stems. This crop is very much affected by pest also. Another main thing one has to take care. However, if we are properly controlling the crop, then pest incidents will be very less. You will be finding. Generally, we are telling that aphid infestation is too much high. Yes, aphids do come in chrysanthemum, but you have to see the damage level by which it can be damaged. So this black type of aphid you will be finding, it is located near the buds or the peduncle type. So generally this black type of aphid, it is not always harmful, not always harmful. For everything, we need not to spray until and unless its population is getting too much high. Then you should not. Then only you have to spray the spray for this control. And in addition to this, we are recommending that better to go for yellow sticky strap first. Then you go for the application of the spray, application of neem or pongamia oil. Generally, these two things gives sufficient control, except polyhouses. Except polyhouses, these two things will be giving the polyhouse, very nice control. However, if we are not getting, then dimethoate, then imidacloprid, they are very good controller of these aphids. And actually, they are the sucking insects. No? So a systemic insecticide is required. In addition to this, nowadays, thrips are also getting very much attention. They are damaging the crops in a very large scale in most of them. And generally, what happens, monoculture of the crops is taking place. Means in and around most of the fields, you will be cultivating the single crops. And that's why this thrips and other insect incidents is getting much more nowadays. And what happens, if we are taking a control measures in one field, the insect is simply jump to the other field. So in that way, though the population of the insect remains the same throughout the season and throughout the area. That's why the crop diversification we are telling that the crops should be planted with some other crops also, not only in between, in outside or also. So in that way, in thrips, the blue sticky straps are recommended for its control. In addition to this, dimethoate is also very good. Dimethoate is very cheap also, dimethoate, and it is giving very effective control. Imidacloprid is costly, but dimethoate is a little bit cheaper, means very cheap. So we are recommending that alternatively you spray dimethoate or imidacloprid, right? And in addition to this, in some of the areas, you will be getting that leaf folder, bud borer. They are also affected to the crops. And Bihar hairy caterpillar is also one of the prominent insect in chrysanthemum, and particularly during the vegetative phase, it is severely affected. So once you are noticing the hairy caterpillar, or smaller, or be it egg mass, if you are finding it, immediately you remove the egg mass. Otherwise, you have to take the spraying of chlorpyrifos or other insecticide you have to take. And minor incidents of leaf miner you will be finding, and as well as red spider might also sometime come, but not always red spider mite. But effective chemical control are there, and it is always recommended that always change the chemicals. And in chrysanthemum, recently some leaf nematode has been observed in some of the incidents. You will be finding during the rainy season and post-rainy season, the lower leaves of the chrysanthemums, they will turn into black, right? So people will be thinking that this is a fungus. But sometimes it found that despite spraying the fungicides, it is not getting control. A recent study at one of our regional station, it has been confirmed that they are the nematodes. It has been found. So this type of infestation is also coming in chrysanthemum. So this is also emerging, and in some areas, some of the varieties, they are getting affected, right? And termite is also occasionally coming in particular area where the soil is very sandy. In that only termite is coming, and this termite, what happens, it is cutting from the base of the plant, and the entire plant is just getting dry. So therefore, this termite control, chlorpyrifos is very effective. That only you can take, or otherwise proper moisture condition one has to make to have a very effective termite control. This crop is also affected by some of the diseases like leaf spot. In rainy seasons, you will be finding this leaf spot, but you can make a very good control. Hmm. Like this kavach is there, you can application of kavach, then it is giving a very good control of this leaf spot. In addition to this, powder is also coming, and during the rainy season, fusarium wilt is also get affected. Particularly during the rainy season, you will be finding fusarium is obviously coming. In addition to this, in flowers, gray mold may come, and in some of the locations during flowering, if the rainy season is there, rainy season is coinciding, there will be gray mold infestation will be much more. And occasionally you will be finding this rust, white rust is also occurring in chrysanthemum. So these things are coming. So for its proper management, of these diseases, chlorothalonil, means that you are taking kavach, leaf spot, you will be applying chlorothalonil. It is giving very good control. Otherwise, you can use mancozeb also. These two are very cheap, not so much costly. However, one more chemical is there for control of leaf spot and other. That is azoxstrobin. It is a bit costly. But it is also giving very good control. So you have to rotationally use all these fungicides, right? And for powdery mildew, the option is vegetable sulfur. It is very good. Still, it is utilized for most of the crops. This vegetable sulfur is giving a very good control, right? So this is all about chrysanthemum. And then next crop I'll be sharing you about this gladiolus. In chrysanthemum, if you have any doubt, you can ask, or in the last you can ask also. Second crop is gladiolus. This is a bulbous crop, gladiolus. And most of you know the gladiolus, but it is not of our crops. It is a crop from South Africa. And it was white, means just growing just like a weeds in South Africa. And just like you can say that gerbera. This gladiolus later on got improved, and many varieties have come, and they are now the leading cut flower varieties in many parts of the world, right? But it is not traded just like chrysanthemum because of heavy spikes. The spike weight is too much high. That's why it is not exported, and it is traded within the, means you can say that states, and short distance trading occurs in case of gladiolus. Except during the summer seasons, the gladiolus are coming from the hills, and they are coming to the other market in that way. And in most of the state, the gladiolus is successfully cultivated, and except you can say that high humidity area and high rainfall area, it is not advisable to grow gladiolus, and it prefers a cool climate. Regarding its utility, there are varied utility in most of the cases, be it from cut flower, loose flower, not loose flower, cut flower, decoration, vases. In most of the places, they are widely liked, and that's why they are very much in the market. For every decorations you will be finding. And gladiolus, the classification they have made based on the floret side, floret types and floret side. They are the grandiflora. First is grandiflora. Here it is larger flower hybrids. What happens? There, they are the maximum. We are telling that exhibition type. In addition to exhibition, they are all the cut flower types also, grandifloras. They are cut flower type. Okay, that is the thing. And the florets are 10 to 20 centimeter wide, and their arrangements are making the gladiolus spikes very much attractive. The placing of the florets, that determines the successfulness of the variety. Okay. And second is primulinous hybrids. They are the less vigorous compared to the grandiflorous. The spike length is little bit shorter, and flower size is also shorter. And third is butterfly hybrids. They are very shorter one However, in addition to that, this butterfly hybrids you will be finding many people are growing in pots also. In a pot, you can grow 4 or 5 corms you can place, and 4 or 5 flowers, means spikes you can get in butterfly hybrids in a small pot. And they are characterized by particular blotches on the tepals, right? So this is a particular types. However, in grandiflorous also, you'll be finding blotches are also occurring, but they are the one. They are the means we can say that out of that hybridizations, you are getting the different type of populations. In addition to this, there are some less preferred like miniature, fascia, colveli, and orchidola. These are the other types of gladiolus are existing. They are of less commercial importance. However, for hybridization and other purposes, they are utilized, right? So regarding the classification on the basis of floret size, they are the right from 100 to 500. There are different type of classes are there, and accordingly they have been designated as miniature to giant. And floret size is obviously it is main factor which is governing the classifications. Some of the varieties have been released by our ICR institutes. They are very good, and they are taking very good pride in the market also. Some of the varieties from IRI, Pusa Sinduri, Pusa Manmohak, they are also very much preferred, and many people are preferring also for commercial cultivation. And regarding its soil, gladiolus preferred well-drained sandy loam soil, and it is also preferring the neutral pH. But if you are having higher pH also, it can stand. It can stand. pH means up to 8. It can also stand, being a bulbous ornamental crops. But what happens? Some of the micronutrient toxicity occurs in case of gladiolus, just like fluoride. Fluorine, if there is a more concentration of fluorine in the soil, then fluoride toxicity is also occurring. And being a bulbous ornamental crops, for a proper growth of bulbs, good quantity of organic matter is also desired in case of gladiolus cultivations. And you can cultivate this gladiolus in India during the October months. October, November, maximum up to December, you can go for the planting. And then you can, after 70 days to 90 days, here also, the flowering can take place. Regarding the climate, you will be finding here, we are telling that cool temperature is required for its proper growth. But it doesn't mean that sunlight duration should be less. It should have a very good sunlight duration. Otherwise, what happen means buds or flowers, it prematurely it aborts. It may not be occurring, right? Even in case of higher temperature, you will be finding that the spikes are not emerging, right? The blindness, it is also coming in case of higher temperature. So during the winter time, it is successfully cultivated. So the cultivation temperature, it ranges from 20 to 25 degrees centigrade to 28 to 30 degrees centigrade. We are telling that. That is the range. And this is a day neutral crop, but a long day durations means a good photoperiodic conditions. We cannot classify them as a long day plant or a short day plant, but this is a day neutral plant, gladiolus, right? And for its cultivation, you have to follow all this cultivation, means whether full sunlight it is required, and there should not be any too much frost damage, otherwise the crop will not be successful. And in hills, the planting of gladiolus crops is generally taken place during the month of March to April, and in October, in plains, you can take from October to December. But beyond December, one should not go for planting, otherwise flower will not be there, right? And in land preparations, here also we are telling that it depends upon the size of the area where you are having it. So here you are finding that if you are having a long area, you can have a long beds, you can make it. And if you have a smaller area, you can make smaller beds. But the main thing is that you have to prepare them on a raised bed. Raised bed, we are telling that just to avoid the waterlogging conditions. If you want to get the gladiolus in early during Dasera or Diwali or some other season, then you can start the planting of the gladiolus right from the July or August also you can take. During the high rainfall period also, you can plant them in raised bed though there will be some mortality, but at least you can get some flower during the festival season. So some people are taking the flowers in that way also. No, some people are also taking. And flatbed also is also sufficient. Flatbed also you can make it, but waterlogging should not be there. In some areas, you can make it in a flatbed, but it is not recommended. It is not recommended. Regarding its manuring and fertilizers dose, it is a bulbous crop, so therefore it requires more quantity of manures and fertilizers also. Regarding farmyard manure also, here also we are telling 20 to 25 ton of farmyard manure is also required per hectare. And top dressing of fertilizer is also recommended in case of gladiolus. Basal dose you are also giving regarding NP and K, and top dress is also recommended. Here we are recommending DAP followed by earthing up. The earthing up is also required in case of gladiolus. So during that time, you can apply the DAP also. This gladiolus is commercially propagated by corms, and corms is like that way. The diameter of the corm should be more than 4 centimeter and above, right? If you are having a smaller size corm, flowers quality will not be there. That is the only thing. Just for planting stock, you can take the smaller size of cormels, but for flowering grade, you have to take a little bit larger type of cormel. Then only corms, then you have to take. Then only flowering will be there. And another thing in gladiolus, you will be finding that fusarium wilt is a problem. So fusarium is a problem. So that's why this application, proper treatment of these corms with fungicide, that is carbendazim at 0.1%, it is recommended. And also during cold store, before the cold store, you can also treat, means it is also recommended to treat the corms with the carbendazim, dry them, and then put them in a cold store. And for cold store, there are two things is there. You have to keep them for at least 2 to 3 months dormancy. After harvesting the gladiolus corm, dormancy is there. That's why you cannot use them for planting grade corms. So you have to treat them either with colds or either with ethereal. Chemical treatments are also available, like ethereal, GA3, thiourea. They are also applied for breaking the dormancy. And as I told, that beds of convenient size you can make it depending upon the availability of the land and otherwise availability of the planting material also. And irrigation, here also irrigation for all the ornamental crops, the irrigation is optimum. You neither to give too much irrigation, right? So one more important thing is that after maturity of the bulbs, means once the flowering is over, then you have to keep the plants as such in the field. During that time, before lifting of the corms, means once the plants get dried up, so before that 4 to 6 weeks, means at least before 1 month, you have to withhold the water. Otherwise, the curing of the corms will not be taking place, and corms may rot or damage during the cold store. So this is the process which one has to follow for the harvesting of the corm. And in gladiolus, some of the intercultural operations which are very much important. First is earthing up. This earthing up is of primary importance in that way the plant will not fall. And second thing, that the spike remain the straight. Spike remain the straight. These are the two things for which earthing up is very much essential. Right? And this is very much essential for the types which are having very large flowers, which are having very large flowers. And in some cases, not in all the places. And gladiolus takes 60 to 120 days for its harvest. And harvesting is generally done during the morning and evening hours. It is done, and it has to be harvested when the basal 2 florets are showing the color. At that time, you have to harvest it for distance market. However, basal florets, if they are open, you can market them in a local market also. This is the way by which the harvesting is done. And in gladiolus, being a big larger spikes, the food is also very much limited in that way. So before harvest means after harvesting and before the transplantations, transplant means before the transportations of the spike, it is recommended that the cut spike should be pulsed with high sucrose concentration. Means 3 to 5% of sucrose along with some germicide, it is recommended. Right. So that's why you will be finding that some of the spikes, it remains fresh for longer time. Some spikes, they are not. So that's why this type of treatments are recommended. And most of the group growers, they are making the treatment in that way. And we are taking the harvesting of the combs after 6 to 8 weeks of harvesting of the spikes. One has to wait. And irrigation should be withheld 2 to 3 weeks before the harvesting of the combs. So in that way, by in the picture only, you will be finding that proper curing of the combs also taking place, proper curing of the cormels also takes place, and a particular outer layer formation is there. Brown layer, you are getting that a formation. This is a protective layer. If you don't give even say water, then this type of things will be happen. But if you are giving water continuously, then such type of curing of the combs will not take place, and it may rot during the cold store also, right? So this is very much important to withhold the water before harvesting of the combs. And in addition to this, after cleaning this cormels and other dirt, other means with all these things with proper curing and proper cleaning, then only you have to treat them with proper fungicide treatment of the corm. And after treating them with fungicide, then you have to dry them in a shade. In a shade, you have to dry, and then only you have to go for storing them in a cold store. And we are recommending to store them at 3 to 7 degrees centigrade in a plastic crates. Then damage will not be there, and controlled removal of this dormancy can take place. And in the northern Indian condition and in other conditions, we are telling that we are taking the combs 1 month before planting from the cold store, and gradually we are keeping them in a normal temperature. We are directly not keeping them in a sunlight. We are keeping them in a shade. Then gradually we are reducing the temperature. Right. Otherwise, this is just like a thawing. Otherwise, if you're after removing from the cold store, if you're putting in a high temperature, then rotting may take place. So that's why these things are to be taken care of in case of gladiolus. This crop is though hardy, but is affected by only diseases, not so much you can say that affected by insects. Though some of the insects are reported like aphids, semilooper, cutworm, leaf-eating caterpillar, mealybug, and borers. They are reported, but this in general, this is at least tolerant to different type of insects, right? They are at least tolerant, and they are not so much affected, just like chrysanthemum. But in case of gladiolus, you'll be finding they are affected by fusarium wilt, and this is a very devastating. Some of the varieties which are performing well in one location, it may not perform well in other location. It is very much profound in case of gladiolus, you'll be finding. So in many of the cases, you will be finding that most of the varieties which are being cultivated in hills, they are very much susceptible to fusarium wilt once you are bringing to the plains, right? So this is the way by which we are managing the crop. And we are not telling that you have to cultivate the crops in the same field for more than 2 years. You have to change it. Though the treatment we have given, that treating the corms with hot water containing 2.5 gram of benlate or captain for 30 minutes, it is giving a very good control. But in some cases, it is not possible. So we are telling that you have to change the field. It is only the way by which you can keep the inoculum under control. And once the plants are affected, then you have to apply the proper fungicide. In addition to this, corm rot is also taking place during the cold store. This happens when what happens that if you are properly the proper corms were not properly cured during the lifting time. So a proper curing is required in case of gladiolus corm. Then only this corm rot can be stopped. In addition to this, Curvularia blight is also noticed in case of some of the, but it is not so much prominent, except fusarium wilt. So this is all about gladiolus, by which you can take the control. So over to you, sir. Do you have any query, you can ask, sir. Over to you, sir. Any doubt, any regarding any questions regarding chrysanthemum and gladiolus, or in general also you can ask about other crops also.
नमस्कार डॉक्टर साहब.
नमस्कार जी.
Sir,
बताइए सर.
today we get the planting material because I am not from North Gujarat. So
Planting material of
planting
which one, sir?
material, the gladiolus combs.
Gladiolus corms. You can get it from our directorate, sir.
Pune.
Pune. You write to us, write to our director during the month of September or October, right, sir? Generally, we are keeping them in a cold store up to September. In October, we are taking from the cold store. So during October, we can give you, sir.
Sir, we have one issue. We are getting not enough florets on gladiolus. Small size spikes.
Small spikes. Sir, you will be fine. You take some of the gladiolus corm from us and then you plant and then you tell us, sir. What happens, sir, in the market, sometime all these gladiolus corms, they are of very smaller size. First is this. Second thing is that they are not properly, you can say that treated. Treated means the dormancy is not broken. Right, sir? And third thing, it is like that, sir. If the same planting stock is used after longer time, then the mother bulbs will become, you can say that, less vigorous. So after 8 to 9 cycles, we are telling that you remove the bulbs and then you remove the corms. When you should not use that corms, and you have to raise the corms from the cormels. So that cormels will become the mother plant, and then again that slot you can utilize for 8 to 9 years. So this is a sequence one has to follow, right, sir?
Sir, one more question. I require seeds of the chrysanthemum, any chrysanthemum for PG experiments.
Sir, you are late. Chrysanthemum cuttings, seeds are not there. Cuttings are there. But, right now, actually, this is the planting